Starting now, we're live. All right, we're live.
Yay.
Yay! Hey, everybody. Welcome to Set Phasers to Read meeting number something. Today, we are going to be talking about Larry Niven's Ringworld, which is a novel that I'm really excited to read because I've wanted to read it for quite a while now, and I just never have grabbed it. So, yeah. And joining us today, we've got Anessa.
Howdy.
Somewhere down there. And Lena.
Hi.
And Rhiannon, who does not have a camera, but she's here with us in voice.
Yes.
All right. So, just in general, is everybody liking the book so far?
Yes.
I
thought it was kind of slow for the first chunk, but now it's starting to pick up as they're like at Ringworld.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I thought
for the most part, it was like an
different.
entire chapter on Tila, and I'm sitting there going, for the love of God, just go already. I know you're going. There's an entire chapter with your name on it.
It's like, just tell us why we're here.
Yes.
Just say you'll go so we can get there already.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I
pretty
think
much how I felt.
Yeah, because I think for the first part, it a little longer than it should have, but it's getting better. So
I
I
would
guess it also
definitely agree
needed
with
to be
that.
longer to, I guess, set the world and describe things and be like, yes, it's so futuristic. Yes. Which is also
Yeah. So, just to give, I guess, a brief synopsis of where we're at. Who wants to go? Because I don't want to.
Sorry.
I will if I have to. All right, I have to.
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically where we're at so far is we have met Louis Wu, who is the main protagonist of the novel so far.
I like to think Louis Wu, because that just sounds happier.
I like that too, and from now on that's what we're calling him, Louis. So Louis we have met, and he's a human, and he was contacted by a puppeteer who is called Nessus or Nasus. Which one is it?
I like
It's
Nessus.
Nessus? Okay.
It's Nessus in the audiobook.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. You can answer the other question I had about pronunciation. So he's contacted by Nessus, who is a puppeteer, which is one of the alien races. And they have hand eyes, kind of like Crumb from Aural Monsters, sort of, is how I understand it.
More
Yeah.
like Ken Mouse.
Mouse.
Yeah,
But yeah, Aural Monsters thing is what I get out of it.
Like everybody's making this motion.
Yeah. And he contacts Louis, and he's like, "Hey, Louis, do you want to do this thing with me?" And Louis is like, "Dude, I'm like 200 years old. Hell yeah, let's do this thing." And the puppeteer Nessus tells Louis that they have to find a couple more members of their team to do whatever this thing is, and he shows them this mysterious hologram with this picture of a thing arcing in space and blah 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 blah. And they end up meeting their two other members of their party, who are Tila Brown, another human who is 20 instead of 200, and that part of the novel we talked a little bit already about how that sort of took a while. But
yeah.
she gets there. And the fourth member of our crew is a Kazin? Zin? How does the audiobook say that, Lena?
It's more like Vagine.
Kajin. She has her mic off
Okay,
because
I like
I'm
that.
talking and it echoes.
Oh, sorry. It's more like Kajine.
Kajin. Okay. Well, that is what he is, and they are a cat people, and they're my favorite so far.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're kind of like Klingons. They're very warrior race, and they have a really both of the alien races we've met so far have pretty interesting breeding and gender things going on. And yeah, so they get the four of them together, and there's a faster than light ship going on, and plans to sell that to people that help, and that's the payment. And they fly to the ring world, and they have crashed on the ring world, and I think that's pretty much where we're at, right?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they're
I don't know
about
if
to crash.
will be yet, but that happens in the very near future.
Okay,
I don't know.
I may have read ahead a chapter. I thought I was behind one, or I thought I was on the right one, but I might have gone ahead one.
Yeah, they're like just getting there, I think, at this point in chapter 8.
Okay, so they are at the ring world, and they are exploring it, or they're flying around it and everything, or about to. They're talking about that. So that's where we're at right now. Does anyone have anything to add? Any major plot points or thoughts on that?
There is an interesting passage, I guess, in one of the chapters that they're on the puppeteer world for a little while, and there's a passage where we said Louis said that they didn't actually see another puppeteer on the puppeteer world, even though it's supposed to be like way populated. So I thought that was like foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah,
Weirdness.
I felt the same way about that. That was really odd.
Yeah.
So that
And
jumped
then
out
the
at
one
me.
puppeteer that they talked to wasn't actually there either.
Yeah, it was a hologram.
Yeah.
He just left before Nessus came back. He's like, I
Mhm.
don't want to see him.
Yeah, that was pretty odd. They did say that the world smelled like, I think, thousands of puppeteers is what they said, but
Yeah, everything smelled like puppeteers, and they wondered at some point, like, how do they? I think it was like, how do they eat? Because if everything has the same chemical composition, they wouldn't gain any sort of value out of it, nutritional value. So I thought that was also kind of weird.
yeah, there's definitely some odd stuff going on there. I think we'll probably find out some of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, but I know I think there's one prequel novel that's entirely about the puppeteers.
Yeah, there's I know there's several prequel novels written by someone else, and yeah, I think one of them talks about just the puppeteers.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking more about the puppeteers because they are strange. And I mentioned that the breeding habits of both of these alien races are very different from human ones.
Yeah.
So the Khajiin, they have they're all males that you see so far. And the reason for that is that they have a non-sentient slave race of females that are only for breeding.
Yeah.
And that's fucking weird.
Feminism.
Take that! These don't even have brains! Ah!
Yeah, it's just weird.
And the puppeteers have, I can't remember exactly what it was. They have 3 people, or they have two random, like, non-binary genders, and then, like, a third something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something different, and it required more than 2 puppeteers.
Yeah, you needed 3 puppeteers, I think,
Yeah.
to breed, and so yeah, that was kind of weird.
Sorry, the cat just rolled off the table and tried to save himself and was not successful. Had this look of terror in his face and was like, I can't reach you, I don't know. I can't help.
Had this look of betrayal as you sit there and watch him fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Meow.
So, moving on from there and kind of going into the characters, what are y'all's favorites so far?
I kind of like Nessus. Like, he's kind of crazy. And they do go on, like, how crazy he is. And, like, his reaction to any situation that's bad is like,
Crazy mood
throw
swings.
it to a ball.
Yeah, he
Throw it
throws
to
it to a ball, and you have to
And
coax him out by rubbing his head.
Mhm.
Not getting out of this ball until things are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. And
I
I
can
think
relate to that.
also, I think it's funny how, like, they brought weapons as tools, but he keeps going like, we didn't bring any weapons. I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't bring any weapons. And he's like, what about this powerful laser tool? That's a tool. It's not a weapon. But yeah, you probably shouldn't point it at somebody, but it is a tool.
Yeah.
So that's also an interesting, like, maybe foreshadowing thing there. Just.
I like how they ended up naming the ship, was it Lying Bastard or something?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And now
Because
it's
they
just
all
Lying.
they all had an inkling that, you know, like the ship wasn't really what they were being told.
Yeah.
Like it was filled with weaponry.
So who was your favorite?
I really like Louis Wu. Because I was like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, I'd probably be bored if I was that old too.
Yeah.
Like, he struck me as kind of a character right off the bat, like a real character in life. And so, I don't know. I'm kind of like paying more attention to him. But I'm also paying close attention to the female character because he seemed just kind of like thrown in there.
Yeah.
Like,
So far, I'm just getting like I just kind of keep thinking of like how sexist Star Trek was in the beginning.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking like, yay, she's just there because she's in love with the guy. She doesn't know anything. She's young. She's perky, and she's kind of just there as a sex thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
so
and they tried to downplay it a bit by saying, well, oh, she comes from like 6 generations of lottery winners, so she's lucky.
She's a good luck charm.
She's a good luck charm, but that doesn't really help their case any either.
Yeah.
No.
The only thing that really seems to kind of save her a bit is the fact that now she's starting to ask questions about what something is, like, what is a Dyson sphere? Like, why are we going here? Tell me more. So, like, they're starting to show that she can actually think, aside from going, ooh, ah, pretty.
Yeah.
So
I was kind of apprehensive about that topic going into reading the book because I had read that that's been a criticism of Larry Niven, that he tends to be a little sexist.
But I also think that was kind of maybe sci-fi at the time. Like,
maybe.
you know, this is
Well, I
70s
think
book.
it's not just the sci-fi at the time, but as Rhea had pointed out when we were talking before the meeting, Larry was born in 1938, and their mindset about women was very different back then.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's so much about like the sci-fi, but I think it's just the time period and the culture that he grew up in that influenced his way of writing and his way about thinking of women.
Yeah.
So I think if maybe he had been born now, his opinion would differ probably, but because he was born in 1938 and they did tend to be sexist, you know, especially in like the 50s and 60s, like homemaker sort of thing. Then
like just as the societal norm.
It was the societal norm, and it's something that he never really tried breaking away from because it's what he knew, it's what he was familiar with, and it's what worked for him. So
that definitely helps rein in the context.
I
definitely felt
telling
the
myself
same way.
reading this.
Otherwise, I was just kind of like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have read ahead of it, and she gets a bit more interesting when they start exploring. So
that's what I was about to say.
I won't say any more, but she does. There's a bit more depth, I think. So there's some development. Maybe.
I'm definitely starting to like her more since I read ahead like a chapter or two.
Yeah. So I haven't read ahead. So.
I don't want to say any more.
Right now, I'm just kind of like, well, she's just meh. She's not awful, but I kind of wish that they didn't spend an entire chapter trying to convince me.
That was not my favorite for sure. Like, I thought that was not necessary. She's a 20-year-old girl that's obviously adventurous. She's probably going to say yes to going on a space adventure.
You just need to give her some time to warm up to the idea. She hasn't realized it yet. Come back to her later. Go do something. Go buy supplies or something. So... no, I like Nessus, and I also like Louis. about the same. Because they're both different. Like, their mannerisms, the way they handle things are different. And I'm kind of curious about Nessus and, like, the I guess it's more of like, how does her voice, like in her native tongue, sound like music? Like, how is that possible?
And I do like how, like, the Kazine, is that Kazine? His
Kazine
sounds like
speaker to animals. That's just his name.
Yeah, speaker. I was just thinking about that before the thing, and is that a dig at him, at humans and puppeteers, since he's like an ambassador?
Yeah,
I think so.
it is.
I think that's, what does he do? He talks to other species, other alien races?
Yeah, like animals, but I don't know.
Well, and
But
he's
it may not
like,
mean that exactly in his tongue, but that seems like something his species would throw in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I noticed, like, their translation, too, is, you've got speaker to animals, and then, what was the name of the mind guy? It was, like, the person of leaders, or the person who leads,
yeah.
and then it ends up being, it's actually the person who leads from behind.
Yeah, from the hindmost.
So, yeah. And I think that's just the way it's translated into our language. It's not just...
I
That's
think
an interesting touch.
I think Speaker is probably my favorite right now, but I'm quickly warming up to Tila.
Yeah, you'll have to ask again in the next meeting.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good idea. So, what do you guys think about the novel's setting, I guess, and kind of the way that it does sci-fi?
It's like the super future.
Yeah.
It's like
way into the future. Yeah.
he took great care to make it known that it was in the future.
Yeah. Almost like in your face.
Yeah.
Hey, this is definitely the future.
This is only the future. We've overpopulated the world. We've had to restrict everyone's thing. Everything blends together.
We have homogenized completely.
Yeah.
Like, there's no room to fight. We just...
I thought the birthright lottery was pretty interesting. Or the concept that you could somehow breed luck.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm interested to see how relevant that is later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
Maybe
if they just
like
get a Tila just
or
because. But
Slash, is there any merit to it?
there's already been a lot of, like, coincidence written into the character, so I have to kind of wonder if they're not going to at least go that way, sort of, without maybe spelling it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably. Like, just the way it seems things are being done, he's really taken care in setting everything up, building up the characters, a bit of their background, where they come from. I don't really see him just totally disregarding her luck. I'm sure it has to come into play at some point.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
So otherwise, I don't think he would have talked about the 6 generations of, lucky people winning the lottery and being able to reproduce and yada, yada, yada. Like, I would think that it would have to come into play at some point that she actually is lucky.
Yeah. Do they ever say in the book the exact time that it is? Because I can't remember. I think they do.
I don't remember if they actually mention a year.
Does anyone remember general scale of time? I'm not even sure where it's supposed to be in the timeline.
I guess in my head I was thinking a few hundred years.
That's kind of where I was at,
It comes
too.
from, like, 6 generations of lucky people.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, like, not super far, but, like, Star Trek far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering about
300,
that.
400 years.
Yeah. So, speaking on some of the sci-fi stuff in the novel, how are you guys liking the scale of it? Like, this to me is a really big novel. They've covered, like, huge amounts of space and time, and
Yes.
Yeah, they have.
which I'm
Well,
really
and just the
enjoying.
ring world
liking this.
itself. Maybe they go into this more in the next bit. Maybe I'm skipping ahead again, but it's huge.
Yeah,
Absolutely huge.
that's why I wrote this question.
Like mind-bogglingly big.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel at this point like it's staggering. Like it's
Yeah.
a little hard to wrap my head around. So I just go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they talk about how, like to get from Earth to where they're going, that it would take a really long time to travel even by FTL drives.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have to use a puppeteer's ship to get there within a reasonable amount of time. Otherwise, we'll never get there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
it,
something
it
that was
really,
kind of hard to wrap my mind around, is just how quick. It's like, wait, this is really far away, but y'all are going to get there pretty quick. And
yeah, because they were like, how do you think we know about what's happening in the center of the galaxy?
Yeah.
So we got there and came back with,
Yeah.
a short amount of time. But yeah, I think basically talking about, our faster than light travel versus the puppeteer's technology, which is leaps and bounds ahead of that, really helps try to put into perspective how big this universe is.
Mhm.
and how much ahead they are in, like,
Yeah.
I was going to say
And
in
it's
science, but just
not just like, yeah,
the puppeteers move planets.
they move planets. Yeah, they move
5
planets.
planets in a constellation.
Yeah.
They also make a point to say that there's space, and then there's like unknown space. Like we don't know. We've not traveled that far.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
they kind of we've traveled outside known space. So that also helps put things into perspective, I think, as well.
I spent a lot of time thinking about the compensation for them going on this mission and how basically it is the ship. And I wondered like why that was enough. But now, I mean, like while we're talking about scale, because I kind of put it out of my head while I was reading it, maybe that's also part of the reward. Is they would never get to experience that without this. So.
Yeah, and they could use that technology. I think it was Speaker to Animals mentioned they could reverse engineer the technology,
Yeah.
and that way they can build more ships and travel.
Yeah, and what about
elsewhere.
Speaker? Because he tried to do a coup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not exactly trustworthy.
Yeah.
And he was like right off the bat, he wasn't wasting any time.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, guys.
I'm still not sure. Like, he could still totally do that, and I would
Yeah.
believe it, like, for the character.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get the sense that you can't trust any of them?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
have that feeling. Like at any point, any of them will just completely surprise me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Lewis. I don't know. Louis, whatever.
Who is the one that you trust the least?
Speaker.
Me too.
Well, I don't know.
No.
Nessus has got something big up
Yeah,
his
I was
sleeve.
gonna say, like, they can tell that Nessus is not exactly divulging everything that he knows.
Yeah.
And it seems like partways through this mission is when he found out more than he really wanted to know, and he's like, oh god.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, it would be a toss-up between Nessus and Speaker.
Because at least Speaker's like in your face about it. Well, I guess after he did the coup, now he's just, yeah,
Yeah.
you'd expect it from him. But
I think his main concern is, like, being recognized by his species, I guess. Like,
yeah.
So he'll do whatever he needs to for that, for now,
Yeah.
until somebody convinces him otherwise in the story, probably.
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah, I don't know. I super don't trust Nessus.
Yeah, I don't really trust Nessus either, but I really like him, so I want to.
I do really like Nessus. And he's just such an odd character. He's crazy.
yeah.
Very weird.
With the mood
And
swings.
his other puppeteers think he's crazy too, so there you go.
The other puppeteers that we're not sure if they exist. We didn't see one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just odd. I'm wondering if they're going to do anything with that.
If not in this book, I'm sure they probably will in the following books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have y'all looked up any pictures of, like, art of the aliens or of the ring world or anything?
The graphic novel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've looked online just to see what these characters look like, because I had a really hard time picturing Nessus.
I did too.
Yeah.
Uh, And then I was like, wait, is this really like a muscular cat like walking around? Okay, yeah,
With a rat
it is.
tail.
That's what it is with a rat tail.
Yeah. It made me think of what's it called? What's it called? Skyrim. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what they are in Skyrim.
Yeah. Aren't they Khajiit or something?
Yeah, it's spelled different, but it's basically the same creature. Like it's
cool.
the same concept. But yeah, there is a graphic novel that covers part 1 of this book.
Oh, okay.
They broke it into 2, so they haven't published the second graphic novel, but it's supposed to be approved, like, it's supposed to be considered canon. So
It's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it at Half Price Books,
hmm
but didn't pick it up.
There's also a mini series in production at Sci-Fi. So that could be awful
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
or great.
Or at least
Yeah,
pretty.
it's 50-50 chance of being good.
Yeah, I'll go with those.
I feel like when I was reading this, I got like a Red Dwarf vibe. Did anybody else? Like, I could picture it that way in my head.
I'm not terribly familiar with Red Dwarf, so I
Oh,
guess.
okay.
The ships are similar at least. Like they're super long and huge and like cargo ship things.
Yeah.
It's the hologram that made me think of Red Dwarf, but that was about the only connection that I got.
H.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was the hologram puppeteer that made me think, oh, Red Dwarf. But that was pretty much it.
I think for me, what it was like the way they talk, the dialogue, and I don't know.
So they have
Sometimes
their own curse word.
Yes, yes.
Just
What
like
is that? Tanj or something?
Tanj, I think. Yeah. And, Red Dwarf is Meg.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I noticed that they had their own curse word. Because at first I'm like, what the hell is this Tanj thing? I'm like, oh, it's like damn.
That's so
Like
fun.
crack.
Yep.
So that's all I got. Did anyone else have any questions or anything you want to talk about?
I've touched up on the things that I've mentioned, like just the feminist thing, and yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to really mention. I do like at the beginning of the book where Louis is just going from one time zone to another to
Yeah.
celebrate his birthday because he's like, 24 hours is not enough for a 200th birthday.
Yeah. So,
And the party is still going when he gets back. So.
Mhm.
Some of the physics is cool. Like I never heard, but it's a really cool concept. And like I don't know about the Galactic Center. Like oh, we must escape because this shit's going down in the Galactic Center. I don't think that's very physical, but just like the whole 5 planets being in a stable kind of orbit, that's pretty legit because like I'm thinking like Earth has 5 Lagrangian points that are stable points around Earth, so I thought that was cool that they talked about that. Some of the physics is actually pretty legit.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it is legit. I'm like, oh, that sounds like it could be, but
Yeah.
you never know. So,
So that part has been speaking to me because it's been a little interesting.
yeah. Well, sweet.
Did we lose the other two?
I was kind of wondering. Neither of them are moving anymore.
Yeah. And they're not saying anything.
They're not saying anything, so.
So I was like, man, I really bored them. Okay, won't mention physics again.
No, like I said, I don't know how much of the physics was legit or not, but I just thought it was like really interesting.
Yeah.
The ideas that's there, that's being presented in text.
Or like the shadow squares. Have they talked about it yet? I think they talked about it a little bit.
Was it the ones that she was using to like run around on?
No, those are what, stepping stones?
Oh yeah,
the shadow squares are like basically squares along the ring because if you have a ring,
that's right.
it's always pointed inward.
Yeah, and wasn't it also to help with having like
night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought
that
that
was
was
something
pretty
that I
cool.
didn't really think about, and the puppeteer didn't even think about, and then the human was like, duh, night and day.
Yeah.
That was cool.
People gotta sleep.
Yeah.
Things would get really hot if there was no...
Oh, they left. Maybe.
They'll probably be back.
Okay, Lena's picture is awesome. Pizza Cat. Like, if you click on there.
I don't see anything. Oh, there it is. Oh.
Like, I don't know why breading cats is the thing, but cat bread.
Well, because when they lay down, they look like a loaf when they tuck everything in.
Is that why people do it? Because I know y'all, like you and Phil say cat loaf. I didn't know that was like actually a thing.
Yeah, no, if you just type in cat loaf, you'll end up with images. But yeah, it's basically when, they like tuck everything in.
Oh, I know exactly what cat loaf is. I just thought that was like the three of us made that up, not that that was an internet thing.
No, no, it's definitely an internet thing.
Cool.
That's why they make cats into bread.
And there goes Lena.
So
just the two of us. You and I. Oh, there we are.
Somebody's
Hey.
back. Maybe.
Hello.
At least the pizza cat's back.
Pizza Cat.
Pizza cat.
I want pizza. I can't have any pizza.
Why can't you have any pizza?
Because I'm broke. I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
No, I spent $30 on stuff to make lunch and dinner, so I will eat the stuff that I made lunch and dinner with. And taco soup.
Hi guys.
Lena! Pizza Cat.
It was the cat.
Oh.
So all of our equipment is plugged into one power strip.
Oh, and the cat landed on the off button.
His paw did. It's like he knows. It's like he knows. It's deliberate.
He's a huge dick.
He's like, oh, y'all are in the middle of a conversation? Click.
Yeah, he's also, whenever he first started teething, he ate through the cord to a $90 webcam,
Mine.
a $120 pair of headphones that belonged to my coworker,
Oh,
my
wow.
mouse, 2 or 3 of my charging cables, one of Lena's charging cables, I think.
Wow.
He's just a huge dick.
But he's adorable.
He is cute.
He's
Alright,
though.
so I'm going to end this now because we're done.
That's good.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the physics and the shadow squares, and I think we're...
Okay, cool. It was still recording, so.
Yeah, I noticed that it was live, so I'm like, I'm just gonna... And we talked about cat loafs, because we was like, why does everybody put, like cats in a bread? And I'm like, because when they tuck everything in, they look like a loaf.
Why do people bread cats? I don't know.
Alright, well, we get to watch that part later after the video is up.
There you go.
It's a new experience.
Alright. Sounds good.
So next week, or is it next week or week after?
That's next week, I
week.
think.
Next week, we moved this one, right?
So.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's 14th. So we will need to read to chapter 15 by then, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
By the 21st
Yes.
at 7:30 Central Time.
Sounds good.
Bye, guys. Yeah, we'll keep the cat out next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. I'm waving, but you can't.